What if a BJJ guy fights a judoka? Who wins? Well, Manlik, that has a lot to do with the fighters, their level. But let's say two equal fighters, two equal level. The only thing different between the two of them is, again, we're doing a thought experiment here. Imagine two twins. They train the same amount of hours, but in two different sports. They're identical across the board, except one did jiu-jitsu, one did judo. The jiu-jitsu guy wins, in my opinion, because he's the only one who could really finish the fight. The judoka will take him down. He's going to end up in the guard. Judokas don't really pass the guard. He's eventually going to get swept or subbed or leg locked or something. So there's no time limit. There's no refereeing. There's no, rounds. There's no, unless the judoka slams him and knocks him out, he's going to lose. Say, who in UFC do you think have Aldo's takedown level of defense in 155? That's from Matthias. Aldo in his prime had an incredible takedown defense. And did you guys ever notice that he doesn't sprawl? He limp legs. He does a different maneuver. That made me rethink watching Aldo over the years made me rethink my entire defensive wrestling. I was thinking, why do we sprawl? Like, what's the point of sprawling when you can limp leg? In wrestling, you're wearing a shoe, making the limp leg far more dangerous because the counters to a limp leg all involve controlling the shoe when the guy tries to limp leg, and then controlling the knee or hip bone. Either knee. Okay, so when somebody limp legs on you, for those of you who don't know what limp leg is, it's a bit hard to explain, but basically the guy's turning his back to you and kind of pulling his leg out from out of your grip. He's kind of like running away from you almost. He turns his back and kind of does a couple of sprinting steps, and then he's facing you again. And it's a beautiful maneuver, limp leg. I do it all the time. It's one of my favorite counters to takedowns. Okay, it's a beautiful maneuver. However, when I used to wrestle and compete in freestyle, when we were wearing shoes, we didn't limp leg too much. We'd limp legged once in a while when the guy had a flimsy grip. When there's no shoe on, limp legging, especially if the fight is later in the later rounds and things are sweaty, limp legging becomes really easy now. Limp legging in round one, where the fight just started and the fighters are both still, bone dry, it's not as effective. It's still good, but it's not as easy to do. But when you're sweaty, after just the first grappling exchange, you get back to your feet and you're a little bit sweaty and the guy tries to take you down again. The limp leg is money, man. When there's no shoe, it's money. It's so good because there's nothing to grab onto. It's hard to grab the shoe or the ankle. Wrestlers are wearing socks and a boot. It makes such a difference. Stopping the limp leg in a wrestling tournament and stopping a limp leg in a fight, it's just an MMA fight where there's no shoe. It makes a world of a difference. So at one point I was like, you know what? I'm going to stop teaching sprawl so much. Let me just teach these guys limp leg over and over again. Look how successful Aldo is with limp leg. Who has his level in Aldo's prime, his level of wrestling defense? That's a tough one, man. That's a really tough one. I would say Khabib, obviously. Khabib's wrestling defense is phenomenal. His wrestling offense is phenomenal, but I believe you me, I'm sure his wrestling defense is even better. There are not many guys with that level of defense that Aldo displayed. I couldn't even think of one. I think Ferguson is good at scrambling off the ground. He's good at scrambling, but he's not as good defense. He'll still get taken down because we've seen him get taken down. We've seen Ferguson get taken down. Aldo getting taken down was so rare, and even when he did get taken down, like say Frankie took him down, it was so brief. He got back to his feet very quickly. So that was a huge feather in his cap. Aldo was incredibly hard to take down, incredibly difficult to hold down. I can't think of anybody other than Khabib right now that can do that.